we did get a little bit of no neutral privilege. I ain't gonna lie to you. Big Hollywood and my man Young Brian, the top influencer in the game. Capcom was nice enough to set aside some time to let us get our hands on Street Fighter 6. That was my first time ever playing it. Was that your first time ever playing too?
I snuck in a little bit earlier, so I had maybe 15 more minutes ahead of you to warm up and get acclimated with the game. But yeah, that was this Evo weekend was definitely the first time I got hands on. You know, I've done a lot of analysis before that. I mean, I've been dissecting every minute of footage, you know, watching every re-upload on YouTube of every match, and you know, like, haven't I seen this match already? So I feel like mentally I had played the game a little bit, but this is the first time actually getting hands on and getting a feel for it. And I gotta say, it's smooth. It's nooch heavy in a way I didn't actually expect. Like the main thing, my first initial impression I got, like the moment I started just getting on, pressing some buttons, just getting a feel for it, everything has more range than you realize, right? Like the mid range is a lot further out, and like I feel like there's just a little bit of an extra generous splash of a hitbox in every move, right? Like if you kind of go based on your Street Fighter 5 visual knowledge of how far moves go based on how the model looks, everything just has like a smidge more range. So you're actually playing footsies from a lot further out, and I feel like that actually made the game slow down. Like obviously we're new, so we're very bad at the game, right? We gotta throw that out there. But it really felt like when we were playing, we're like trying to poke around and play that like classic like Street Fighter neutral. Like you're trying to go for low forward, I'm trying to get you with the stand medium kick. Like it was very interesting to feel how much more distance was being covered in the footsie game.
And I was so annoyed because I didn't know any combos really real. I just know like low forward fireball. So I'm so annoyed because whenever you would land a hit, you actually get that full record combo and it looked cool doing damage. But I definitely could agree with that as far as like the hitboxes. Like when you do Ryu's low forward, bro, it feels like it's half screen, you know. Of course that's hyperbole, but it's definitely, I would say, like the opposite of how in 5 people feel like his low forward, and it's true, like his low forward is like a bit toned down, at least until the recently when it got buffed. I think right now his low forward it feels like the evil Ryu in Street Fighter 4, but just without the damage that you got off of it back then with FADCs and all of that, right?
Well, that's for now. Until we master some of the mechanics.
That's true.
I think that's the next big point. Is, you know, obviously to me, what I think Street Fighter 6 is all about, and I mean, it's no secret, it's the drive system, right?
It is.
Like it's all about the drive mechanics, because without that, you're kind of playing like a very basic fundamental footsies game that Street Fighter is known for. What sets Street Fighter 6 apart is obviously the drive system, because that's what ties everything together. You have, you know, the drive parry, the drive rush, drive impact, and we didn't mess too much with the drive reversal yet. That's like the V reversal of Street Fighter 6, because we just wanted to go in and do all offense. You know, we weren't caring about no defense, right? And then also your EX moves use the drive meter as well. And so,
is drive impact the one the one you charge up and it
the focus attack mechanic?
Oh, we were abusing that. We had some godlike. There's so many dope interactions that happen with that. Like if you hit
drive impact is immediately like the fun mechanic. Day one,
it is.
Even if you're not like a master at fighting games, you're gonna pick up Street Fighter 6 and you're gonna drive impact each other, because we had tons of moments where like one of us would do it a frame sooner than the other one, and the slowdown happens, and you have the graffiti effects all screen, and you have that moment of tension where like, wait, who's gonna win this interaction? And then you just get bodied and then into a full combo. So that was immediately the fun mechanic.
Yeah, you know, and then even backing out of gameplay for 1 second, I gotta say, when I first hopped on there, it felt really good just seeing like the visually how the game is. Now, of course, you guys will see when you actually play it, but at least for me, Brian, like it felt different than when I'm just seeing it like watching on YouTube and stuff like that. Like when I'm actually entering the menus and everything, I feel like the game looks and feels it feels polished. It feels, I guess you would say, like AAA or whatever, right? Like it feels like a game with a great like budget. It feels cool. I think that's the easiest way to put it too. It feels cool.
Right.
So when I look at Street Fighter 6, to me, this is the most like clear cut, like mainstream feeling and looking game as far as even the audio, the menus, the transitions, everything, man. So even as far as the character designs. Oh, speaking of character stuff, okay, so the dopest thing, maybe my favorite thing about Street Fighter 6 so far is the way the hits feel and the way that your characters reel back and stuff like that. It's a whole lot more detailed than it's ever been in the Street Fighter series, in my opinion. Like, actually, I feel like that's objective. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to show me otherwise.
Yeah.
Just when you get hit with something, the way your body reels back and everything is way different. So I think that actually adds a whole lot. It looks way more like real MMA.
There's a good sense of impact and weight to it. Immediately, it's immediately apparent that they're actually fighting. I think it gives you that impression without being we always talk about realism versus like gameplay communication, right? Like you want the gameplay to be able to communicate what's happening, and sometimes realism doesn't really vibe with that with fighting games, because fighting games, their first goal is not realism. Let's be real. It's not a fighting simulator. Fighting games are kind of their own beast, right? But I feel like Street Fighter 6 is really driving or riding that line very well of incorporating the realism, like the blocking animations, but also giving you only the information you need about the gameplay, right? Even the blocking animation, right? The crouching strong is not a low, so even if you're crouch blocking, you block a one way. When you block a true low, you have a different animation. That's both more realistic and giving you more information as a player to help you understand what's going on. And we understand what that means, right? But like new players might not get, like, how come I can block this move both standing and crouching, but this one move I can only block while holding down back, right? The animation will give you some context to what's going on, which helps communicate the ideas of the game and helps you more intuitively pick up how to play the game, which I think is very important to have in fighting games, is more ways to intuitively teach people what's going on. But yeah, I totally agree that the moment you're in the game, like you get what the game's about, right? Like the aesthetic, it bleeds through in everything you do. Just from the menus, the music, the animations, and then of course, like when you're in the game, the ink effects on everything, the drive impact is super stylish.
There's definitely going to be a whole lot of room for self-expression. And, just speaking of like the mechanics, I guess the last, little side thing I'll bring up is we were surprised as far as Drive Rush. It has a heavy startup. Like, I was thinking like, whoa, this looks kind of crazy. You're going to just parry fireballs mid-screen, just period, and then Drive Rush in for a full punish. But it's not necessarily that simple at all. Because the startup on it is actually it's kind of slow. Also, we found out that when you Drive Rush in, your attacks get different properties. Or they give more frame advantage or hit stun. I don't know if anyone else had realized that yet, but we hadn't realized it.
I think the other thing is, so the drive rush, if you drive rush in and do like a medium, normally after a medium I could only link a light, but if I drive rush in, that medium lands, I can link another medium. So I'm not sure if it's a counter hit frame advantage or the exact numbers on all that, but it definitely leads to new combo opportunities. So I think the neutral is going to become much more dangerous once that mechanic becomes mastered, because any of these little pokes that you do, you drive rush cancel, you get a full combo conversion, you get the offense going. It's going to be very dangerous, but it's expensive. This is the last thing I think I want to bring up is we're talking about all the ways to use meter, right? What happens if you use too much? To me, Street Fighter 6 is going to be all about managing resources and the mental stack of managing that, because the burnout state we found, it's so punishing. You're slower, you have no meter, it takes forever for your meter to come back. As
the animations are even different. When you
all your animations, Luke is like, oh god, Jamie's like exhausted. You start walking slower, you have no meter at all. And once you're in that state, I don't think you're ever the meter comes back eventually, but odds are you're gonna die. I think like if you survive burnout, like that's a clutch moment, because I think most of the time you're just gonna die. And it's very easy to put yourself in burnout without paying attention to it. Very easy, because it's not just you burning your meter on all these mechanics or EX reversals, the drive meters, drive impact and all that. If you get whiff punished, or if you get punished on a DP or like any kind of counter hit punish, your meter goes down as well. So you're going to be constantly like looking at that meter, judging, should I risk all my resources right now going to burnout for this offensive moment? Should I be conservative and not risk using my meter? What if I whiff punish him here? He's going to go into burnout. Should I be aggressive here? Because it's all about managing that meter, and I think that's where the mind games are going to come in. You're going to be constantly juggling that, because, man, if you're in burnout, you're in that corner, they're going to drive impact you. If you don't have meter, you can't counter drive impact that well. You have to guess jump or like perfectly time a throw. Drive impact is so dangerous when you have no meter, because if they get you that and you hit the wall, you're stunned. Full combo. Yeah, full combo. There's no comparison to any existing Street Fighter how important that meter is, because your entire gameplay and your defensive options, which are needed because the offensive options are so strong. I'm telling you, the number one thing to practice the day it comes out is going to be drive cancel from normals and how to counter drive impact. You're going to want to know how to counter drive impact, because everyone's going to be having the time of their life spamming that move. And if you don't know how to parry it or drive impact back or jump out of the way, you're going to get blown up. And if you don't have drive meter to deal with it, oh man, splat. I hope you enjoy watching yourself get comboed.